Once again, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Delone Catholic High School Hall of Honor Class of 2023 induction. We're thrilled to have you all here to celebrate a wonderful group who has done so much for our school and the surrounding communities and around the world, truly. My name is Eric Lawrence. I'm a 1998 graduate and the Director of Advancement, and just very excited to have you all here, and I am going to turn it over to our principal, Mr. William Lippy, for a few words of welcome.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be in the company of so many esteemed guests to our school, not really guests, members of our community throughout the years. Just by way of introduction, it seems appropriate for me to kind of share with you the message that I wrote to our community and which was featured in the Squire Wire today. I wrote as follows. Yesterday, my friend and colleague, Eric Lawrence, class of 1998, the school's administrative advancement director, unofficial historian, lover of all things Delone Catholic, and an all-around good guy, took to Facebook to announce the school celebration of Founders Day. That is the birthday of Charles Delone, the school's founder and first benefactor. Eric's message also served as the official countdown to our annual Day of Giving, Squire Impact Day, to take place on March 15th. In the Facebook post, Eric referred to the generations of alumni whom the school has formed as servant leaders. Servant leadership is a relatively recent leadership model made popular in 1970 by Robert Greenleaf, based on the idea that those leaders are best who make sure that other people's highest priority needs are being served. But one need only look to the example of Charles Delone to recognize that the insight behind servant leadership is both old and evergreen. In 1939, he dedicated the resources to resurrect Catholic education in the Hanover area, without the slightest hint of recognition seeking for his charity. Indeed, Mr. Delone was so dedicated to a selfless mission of serving others that he resisted the thought of the school being named in his honor. And it was only upon the insistence of Bishop George Leach that he acceded. This ethic of servant leadership, present at the foundation of the school, has become an enduring legacy. Whether in current student participation in activities like the Provide a Lunch program of the Hanover Council of Churches, or in the demonstrable records of selfless service to Delone Catholic and the larger community of this year's inductees into the Hall of Honor, Anthony Weaver, class of 1973, John, that is Jack Cale, class of 1977, along with the late Doris Koval-Wolf, class of 1953, Janet Niderer Kiefer, class of 1968, and our former faculty member, Mr. Bill Grandia. Stakeholders, yourselves included, can take pride in the school's fidelity to unassuming service to others. Together, students, faculty, alumni, members of the Hall of Honor are the spiritual offspring of Charles Delone, and that is wholly worth recognizing and supporting both this evening and throughout the year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lippy. At this time, I would like to invite Father Tony Miller, a member of the class of 1971, and the pastor at St. Aloysius in Littlestown, to give our invocation and blessing before dinner. Father Tony.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Blessed be your name, our God and our provider, for the gifts of this nation, this land, and for the food we are about to eat. Bring us together in this sharing of food, drink, and friendship. Like the supper of Jesus, nourish us with faith in you, with care for one another, and with food to give us pleasure and to make us strong. Make us true servants in our care for those in need. And we know that we dare thank you only if our sharing reaches out to all in need. And we ask that you bless this food, a sign of your loving care for us, and bless us in our daily lives. Hear our prayer, loving Father, for we ask this in Jesus' name, for he is our Lord and King, now and forever. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Bon appetit.
So I want to dive in a little bit to the history and the purpose of the Hall of Honor. And in the context of our regular administrative staff meeting yesterday, Mr. Lippy made the observation that we have what is really a twofold responsibility here at Delone Catholic High School. First and foremost, our mission is to form disciples of Jesus Christ and ultimately produce saints for the kingdom of heaven. In order to do that, we have to remember and honor our past while preparing and adapting for the future. With numerous challenges and opportunities drawing our attention, it can be easy to lose sight of those who have done so much to bring us to where we are today. Nearly a decade ago, we discussed introducing the Hall of Honor as a way to ensure that we keep an appropriate focus on those individuals without whom Delone Catholic High School could not exist and thrive. Unveiling the Hall of Honor at the school's 75th anniversary celebration in September 2015 seemed like the perfect match. That night, we inducted the school's founders and those who laid the groundwork for what Delone Catholic has become. The inaugural class also set the standard for future inductees into the Hall of Honor. At this time, I would like to recognize our previous inductees who are here with us tonight. We're thrilled to have you. Andy Angel from the class of 1973. Frank Felix from the class of 1967. Diane Niederer-Leibelsberger from the class of 1965. Tom Coach-Staub from the class of 1958. And Dave Swope from the class of 1968. Nobody else snuck in on me, did they? Okay, good. Don't want to leave anybody unrecognized. I would also like to take a moment to remember Mary Furlong and Connie Schlock, two members of the Hall of Honor who passed away in December. May they, the other deceased members of the Hall of Honor, and the souls of all the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. Amen. The underlying principle of the Hall of Honor is to recognize people who have made a significant contribution to the school over a sustained period of time. That contribution can come in many forms, and it can be either directly to the benefit of Delone Catholic, its students, administration, faculty, and staff, or by improving the larger local, national, and global communities and enhancing the name of Delone Catholic through the good works of its alumni. I am so grateful to my fellow Hall of Honor committee members, past and present, who have spent so much time and energy to ensure that the Hall of Honor is an appropriate recognition of lives well lived in service to others and Delone Catholic. A wall which was once blank will, after tonight, bear the image of 37 individuals and 3 orders of religious sisters whose stories are woven permanently into the history of Delone Catholic High School. Though still in its early stages, the Hall of Honor has begun to stand the test of time and serve as a great honor to those in the past, present, and future who have made and will continue to make Delone Catholic a pillar of the Adams-Hanover community. I would like to specifically thank the current members of the selection committee who chose the class we induct today. Joan Miller from the class of 1969. She's here with us tonight, obviously. And Sandy Gingrich, who have both been with us from the beginning of this process. Brian Yealy from the class of 79 is a current faculty member who couldn't be with us tonight. Mike Shanabrook from the class of 1968. Kim Staub from the class of 1984. And again, we get to call out Coach Staub from the class of 1958. He's with us on the committee as well. And we're grateful to have joining us this year Frank Felix and Dave Swope, who are in their first years of service to this committee. It is hard to believe that we have been doing this long enough that committee terms are expiring, but here we are. And a special thanks to Joan, Mike, and Brian for the work they have done over the years, and they will certainly be missed in this capacity. Thank you both, and to Brian very much. The class of 2023 is the 8th that we will induct into the Delone Catholic Hall of Honor. Though comparatively short-lived by the standard of many of our traditions, it has gained traction as a tradition nonetheless. It is one to which many of us look forward each year. A newer wrinkle that came about when the class of 2021 induction was forced into virtual status by the COVID pandemic is the professional production of a video capturing the stories of our inductees for posterity and relieving them of what some found to be the profound discomfort of talking about themselves in public. As a result, you can find the videos for the classes of 2021 and 22 permanently archived on the Hall of Honor page at DeloneCatholic.org. And tonight's festivities will be posted there as well and disseminated to members of the Delone Catholic family far and near once the video is completed. Before we get to the class of 2023, I would like to take a step back to the class of 2022. Mrs. Connie Schlock was unable to join us last year as she was caring for her husband Bill in his illness. Unfortunately, they have both passed away before we were able to have Connie back for her plaque presentation, which we will do posthumously this evening. Connie K. Schlock was a distinguished member of the Delone Catholic faculty. During her career, which spanned from 1982 to 2002, she taught Spanish and served as the chair of the Foreign Language Department. She also taught English, Latin, religion, and electronics at various times throughout her tenure. She was a demanding teacher, but one whom students loved, and she prepared them well for life after high school. Many of her former students have gone on to careers in education. Outside the classroom, she served as a class moderator and led the yearbook and quiz bowl clubs. And she also served as the varsity golf coach from 1990 to 1994. At this time, I would like to invite Mr. William Lippy, principal of Delone Catholic, to present her plaque, and I would also invite Suzanne Schlock Lynch from the class of 1987 to accept the plaque on behalf of her mother.
I wish she were here to accept this in person. Thank you. But she loved Delone, and the kids loved her, and I always felt like I benefited from that because I think a lot of people were nicer to me because they loved my mom. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And without further ado, we turn our attention to a special group of individuals whose accomplishments and contributions are many and varied. The 5 members of this class have contributed to numerous facets of Delone Catholic since the late 1940s. We are proud to honor them today and forever. A plaque honoring each member of this class will be hung in the main hallway of the 1940 wing, where everyone who comes to Delone Catholic can see it. These plaques were blessed earlier today by Father Samuel Miller, who introduced himself as Father Miller the Lesser, and we have Father Miller the Greater here with us tonight. Father Sam Miller is our chaplain, and he asked for God's blessing on each of our inductees and that their example may inspire good works in current and future members of the Delone Catholic family. I mentioned earlier that we have removed what some of our past inductees considered to be a very comfortable experience of speaking publicly, no less about themselves, from this experience. We will be playing professionally produced video segments for each of our inductees, recorded and produced by Kevin Flaunlacker from Lakeview Visual LLC, telling the story of each of our inductees. And I am very grateful to Kevin. He has jumped in and become a member of our community through this process over the last 3 years, and it's a joy to work with you. So thanks for being here. After we play the videos, I will again invite Mr. Lippy to present the plaques of recognition to each member of the class. First, tonight we induct Mr. William M. Grandia II, affectionately known to his students and colleagues as Mr. G. He taught technology education at Delone Catholic from 1991 until his retirement in 2017, and he was still a driver education instructor at the time of his sudden passing on December 23, 2021. Mr. G was an outstanding educator who needed no public validation, but he received it as a winner of the WGAL Teacher Impact Award during his tenure. He had a unique sense of humor and an ability to connect with his students, whether they took his classes or not. He was known as much for his work outside the classroom as in it. Mr. G was the unofficial locksmith of Delone Catholic, which was fitting for a man who had the biggest key ring most people will ever see. He also had an incredible ability to always have just the right parts on hand to refurbish, rebuild, recycle, or otherwise reuse technology that to the less trained eye had no discernible value remaining. In addition to his unwavering dedication to Delone Catholic and his students, Mr. G spent his entire life in scouting. He was an adult leader and served on the staff at Camp Tuckahoe in Dillsburg for nearly 4 decades.
He was amazing. The bigger the challenge, the more Bill was up to it, and he could pretty much reach them.
The person of Bill Grandia would walk up and down the hall and had a kind word for everyone. I think in 25 years that I was here, I saw him angry once. My name is Dr. Maureen Thiak. I served as principal of Delone Catholic High School from 1992 to 2017. We are here to honor Mr. Bill Grandia, who was the most phenomenal teacher that I have ever met in my life.
My name is Christine Masso, and I'm here today to honor my uncle, my big brother, William M. Grandia II, who everybody knew as Bill or Mr. G. Somebody who was terrified of school, didn't want to go to school, and what he ended up doing? Teaching. I mean, when it was time for first grade, he got physically sick about going to school. He's screaming and crying and hollering, and he's holding on to the railing to get onto the bus, and they had to peel his fingers off and sit him in the seat. And so he comes home from school, and he's sort of quiet about it. As it turns out, the first couple days of school, he would kind of get away from his class, like maybe he had to go to the bathroom or something like that. And he found his way down to, tell me if this isn't Bill, found his way down to the boiler room where the janitor was. And the janitor had all the tools and stuff, and he was showing Bill what all the tools were and stuff. The man who did not like school ended up becoming one of the most amazing teachers. But I think that had something to do with it too, is he knew what it was like for somebody who didn't.
He could do anything, everything, and the students loved him. Peers, faculty loved him. He always laughed and smiled and just would do anything for anyone.
Delone accepted him warmly into the fold, and he loved the people of Delone, the people who worked there, the students, the building. That was all very personal to him, and very much his family. He was very proud to be associated with Delone and to be part of the Delone family.
The students would go to him if they had a flat tire. He'd pump up their tire, send them on their way. He was jumping cars, giving them a jump if the batteries went dead. He was just here. And then he had a locksmith set up in the back room of his classroom, and he would make keys for people. Or when a teacher around here lost all the keys to the school, he relocked the whole school for me. He just could do anything. Bill could make you smile if you were having a bad day. He knew when you needed a hug. He knew when you just needed a shoulder to cry on. He just knew, and that was what was special about him.
It's kind of bittersweet because I wish he could be here to accept it. He had a profound effect on so many people. I can't tell you how many grown men in their 40s and 50s still say, when I have a problem, I stop and I think, how would Bill handle this?
And we'd like to invite Christine Masso to accept on behalf of Bill Grandia.
Thank you so much.
I can't really add anything that hasn't been said before, but Delone was his family, and he would be thrilled, even though he's cool about it, to be included with this group of people, including people he worked with and he had such great esteem for. So thank you very much, and we'll cherish this. Thanks.
Next, we induct Jack Kale from the class of 1977, a long-standing member of the Board of Directors at Delone Catholic, who played a prominent role in most of the physical improvements to campus over the past 25 years. He served on the board from 1998 to 2021, including as the body's president for his last 2 years. He was the chair of the Building and Grounds Committee for most of that time, during which the school replaced the roof on the entire campus, the bleachers in the Shepherd Gym, the lights, bleachers, scoreboard, and goalposts on J.T. Flaherty Field, made countless improvements to administrative and academic facilities, and ultimately he served on the campaign cabinets for both phases of Delone's Diamond Decade Initiative, a comprehensive renovation of most of the campus. While serving in those capacities, he and his wife Mary have successfully run their business at Littlestown Auto Care, generously sponsoring many activities at the school, and saw their 3 children graduate from Delone Catholic. Serving the school has been and continues to be a family affair. In fact, his son Michael recently remarked that he was well into his own high school career before he realized that not every family spent the time serving at Delone Catholic that his does. Jack has at various times also served as a member of the Athletic Association, the Finance Committee, and the Alumni Association. He has done it all with high energy and ambition to find the right people to accomplish whatever is needed for Delone Catholic to be its best.
I didn't do the things I did here, or hopefully can continue to do, because I got an award.
My name is Bill Boker, and today we're here to honor Jack Kale.
Hi, I'm Jack Kale, 1977 graduate of Delone Catholic.
Jack, to me, is Mr. Delone. He's got the biggest heart and a passion for Delone Catholic and the Delone community.
When I think of Delone, the first thing comes to my mind is tradition. And everybody knows what tradition is, but it's, just sitting here talking about it, I have goosebumps. I can walk into the shack down there where we dress for football. I can walk in there right now and I'll be full of goosebumps. So the big thing for me is tradition. I don't want this place to lose its tradition. I think it's very important.
Working with the Finance Committee, Jack was involved in that. One of the interesting things back in the day was once we got the budget approved, what amount was left over for facilities. Might have only been $5,000, might have been $10,000, but Jack was happy with whatever figure he got and went right at it with the funds that he had available to him.
The things that I've done here at Delone weren't me. It was, I made sure I surrounded myself with great people. It got to the point after being here, 25, 30 years, that if I'd walk into the KFC, people would run and hide because they were afraid I was going to ask them to do something. Everything we accomplished were not so much me as the organization and the people that I knew. And it's continuing today.
Jack got an idea, he was moving forward with it quick and wanted to get things accomplished fast.
I'm grateful because hopefully it shows people that, hard work and dedication pay off. Maybe I'll become a mentor like Joe McCullough was to me, and Brother Renee Sterner, and many, many others, that, that this whole thing can continue.
The fun part was when the shack was painted, and Jack felt it would be beneficial to put the Squire logo on the shack. That all went well until we found out that the borough felt that the insignia on the shack violated the rules with the displaying names of Delone Catholic, that type of thing. It was part of the signage issue. Jack was very creative on that. Rather than get it painted over, he proceeded to have a bus smacked right up against the shack so that you could no longer see the logo until the variance was approved.
I wish more people knew, the things that happen here behind the scenes. The hard work that people give, that they don't receive anything other than maybe self-satisfaction. The tremendous amount of volunteer time that goes on here is just, and again, I don't think a lot of times we toot our own horn or appreciate that near enough. So if me getting this award helps bring that to light, okay.
Jack Kale. Jack Kale, come on up and accept.
Thank you, everybody. I know we're not supposed to say much, but what I said in that video is all true. I mean, it's not about me, it's about the people. Find the right people to do a job and it gets done. And hopefully I'm an inspiration to others that'll keep this thing going. So, thank you.
Next, we induct Janet L. Niederer-Keffer from the class of 1968, a beloved educator whose impact on her students has been felt for decades after they left her classroom. After a brief time teaching in Connecticut, she returned home to become a fixture, first as a third grade and kindergarten teacher at Annunciation School in McSherrystown. In the mid-1980s, she moved on to begin a program which served as a bridge year between kindergarten and first grade at Rolling Acres Elementary School in Littlestown. Her husband, Jack, said in his eulogy for her that this program gave her students the gift of time to make sure they were ready to move on to the next level. In addition to time, her gift to her students was kindness and patience, providing a strong foundation on which hundreds of students built successful academic careers and prepared for their lives beyond school. Each year, she and Jack made Christmas ornaments for her students, and as she battled illness in her last few Christmas seasons, dozens of her former students shared photos with her on social media of those ornaments hanging on their trees as many as 40 years after they were given as gifts to eager young students.
She was an exceptional person. She always went over and above, what had to be done. I'm Jack Keffer, and I'm here to honor my wife, Janet. It goes without saying for me that Janet was born to be a teacher. Her passion was teaching. Anything she could do to foster love and respect for one another came out with her interaction with her kids, with her parents, everybody she got involved with. That's who Janet was. My wife as a person started at Delone Catholic High School because the two of us started dating our junior year in high school. Obviously, we grew up together. Not only grew in love together, but grew up together. She knew from early on that she wanted to be a teacher and was quite successful at it. And I remember one year, kids went to the zoo and she had them dressed up as giraffes. So they had giraffe ponchos and hats and everything. And, it was quite an experience. And obviously it wasn't hard to keep track of the kids at the zoo either, as far as their costumes. What was significant to me was in 2020, when one of these groups graduated from Littlestown High School, I was invited to the graduation. And most of these kids that she had in transitional actually had ribbons that they wore on their gowns that were giraffe ribbons in memory of Jan. So, she was just that kind of a person. Another accomplishment, Jan wrote and illustrated a children's activity book. It's called Where is Away? And that was stressing the importance of respect for the environment and recycling. To be a doer of the word, you have to be someone who makes a significant difference in the lives of others. And I believe all you have to do is talk to any of Jan's students, their parents, their grandparents, even the teachers that furthered their growth in education. If you do that, there is no doubt in my mind you'll know that Delone made the right decision in choosing her and adding her to their Hall of Honor. Now, I'm her biggest fan, always was. I certainly am touched by the fact that she was considered, and I know she would be extremely embarrassed because she would not want to hear these accolades, but she's certainly worthy of every one of them.
Jack, please accept on Janet's behalf.
Well, I wasn't really prepared to say anything, but obviously Janet was born to be a teacher, and all I can say is I was her most difficult student.
Next, we induct Tony Weaver from the class of 1973, a Delone Catholic graduate who has spent his life, personal and professional, exemplifying what it means to be doers of the word. He was a police officer from 1975 through 2004, serving all but 2 of those years in the borough of McSherrystown. He was a certified child abuse investigator and received several commendations over the years for his role in preventing a suicide, arresting barricaded gunmen, and recovering stolen property. Following his retirement from the police force, he continued to serve McSherrystown, first as president of the Borough Council, and then from 2013 to 2020 as mayor. Additionally, he has been a dedicated coach and volunteer at Delone Catholic. During 2 tenures from 1980 to 1996, and again from 2005 through 2010, he was a member of the Squires football coaching staff at the junior high, freshman, JV, and varsity levels, helping the varsity team to 4 district titles. He was also a member of the softball staff in the mid-1980s. Since 2011, he has tirelessly volunteered to bring Delone Catholic activities to alumni, family, and friends around the world through the Delone Catholic Broadcast Network, preparing for and participating in dozens of broadcasts per year, and traveling around the Commonwealth, often at his own expense, to broadcast district and state playoff games.
I don't do any of this for recognition. I did it because I loved it. You know, I wouldn't have did it if I didn't like it.
My name is Janelle Hummer, and I'm a member of the class of 1997. I felt that my father was deserving of being in the Delone Catholic Hall of Honor.
Give to Eckert. He has the first down. He's free at the 5. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, Square.
My name is Tony Weaver, and I'm a member of the Delone class of 1973.
My dad is very involved in the community for as long as I can remember. He was a police officer. He's retired now. Then he was the mayor of McSherrystown. And now he's thankfully taking some time to relax and be himself. But he did a ton of stuff during at least my lifetime that I can talk about.
When I bought the house in McSherrystown, I bought a house over in Cricket Lane, was sort of between the baseball field and the school. So I had no other choice than just to help out.
Sometimes I think it's important to stop and thank those people who give so much of themselves every day.
I do love Delone, and I gave a lot to Delone, but to be mentioned in the same sentence with some of the people that got it, especially Mary Furlong, who I consider my savior, I don't think, it does me justice to belong to that same group.
Not only was he a police officer, but he was the football coach here for many, many years, softball coach. He did all kind of different things at the carnival to, security and stuff like that.
As a coach, I was looking out for the kids more than I was looking for a win.
He was very involved, and of course now he's the voice of DCBN.
First down for Stahl, but he's loose. He may go all the way. I don't see any flags back here. No flags. Touchdown, Delone.
He just, I think, will be involved with Delone and with McSherrystown, the community, until he's no longer here.
What really means a lot to me is when the people call me coach instead of officer or sergeant. That means a lot more. I mean, if I met them in that way and helped them, and they can call me coach and not Sergeant Weaver, which I was to a lot of people. That's a lot better.
I think, here at Delone, it's always been be doers of the word. Go out and make yourself known by what you do for other people. And I think that my dad is just an example of that, and that they should be able to see that, there's other alumni who have done that, who have been doers of the word. Take yourself after you leave Delone and make the world a better place, just like my dad did.
It's not like it was hard, it was fun. I really had a lot of fun doing this.
Tony Weaver, ladies and gentlemen.
I did have a lot of fun doing a lot of things here. What wasn't on there is a lot of it was because of my big brother Kwame, who probably spent more time here than me. He did basketball, he did football stats, he's been around, and he was one of my role models to do what I do and give back to Delone. I will be with DCBN as long as they have me.
That's good, Tony, because I don't think my wife and kids are going to let me back to the schedule I used to keep. And finally, we induct Doris A. Cover-Wolf from the class of 1953, who spent nearly 40 years heeding the call to feed my people. Along with her husband, she founded God's Meal Barrel in Hanover in 1986. It started simply by compiling non-perishable canned goods in their garage, and the word of mouth spread that anyone in need of food could come into their home and help themselves to the food on the shelves. In 1989, they bought a 2-story property in Hanover, allowing them to live on the second floor and feed the hungry out of the first floor. In the early years, she coordinated family and friends who volunteered to provide daily hot meals. Though the impact of God's Meal Barrel is mainly contained to the immediate Hanover area, it has received national recognition. In 1990, the ministry was named as one of the 1,000 Points of Light by President George H.W. Bush, who highlighted volunteerism throughout the United States. In the years since, God's Meal Barrel has continued to meet the needs of the hungry through its volunteer efforts and partnerships with local and national corporations. She continued to consult with the management staff at God's Meal Barrel until her passing the day before the selection of the Hall of Honor class of 2023 was finalized.
My name's Tom Himmler, a class of 1969. Today we're here to honor Doris Wolf, the founder of God's Meal Barrel. If you have a kind heart, if you have a giving spirit, you can do wonderful things. God's Meal Barrel is a food pantry in Hanover. We serve the greater Hanover area. We have no qualifications like some other pantries, like geographical or financial. Basically, if anybody calls us and says they're in need of food, we welcome them to come in. I remember going out and sitting down with Doris and asking her, I need to create a little history here and put it on paper. I said, so help me out. Why did you start this food ministry? And she said, the Lord said to her, feed my people. Originally, when Doris started the pantry, they would need to go to Harrisburg Food Bank. And a lot of times they spent their own money to get things going. But eventually, donations started coming in. She got a few grants. So she started again, very small. But if you look to where we've grown today, it's quite amazing. She at one point was nominated by President Bush to be one of his points of light. And if you go into the Meal Barrel right now, we have her picture there accepting the award and shaking the president's hand. You know, I told Doris I nominated her, and she was thrilled. She would be extremely happy and thrilled to be here at the dinner coming up. But she passed on December 18th.
right before we were notified that she was going to be on this year's class. But it would have been exciting to see her here accepting an award like this. Being a Delone graduate, I was aware of the Wall of Honor. And when I knew that it looked like Doris was going to go into the nursing home, I just knew I had to nominate her. She was a doer of the word to the fullest. And I'm honored to see her up on that wall up there.
Tom, would you come to accept on behalf of Doris Wolf, please?
Thank you. Doris would be extremely honored, and in her honor, we have a commitment to keep the mill barrel going in her name.
And we at Delone Catholic are happy to have the meal barrel in our neighborhood now. And they're right across the street for those of you that didn't know, and they've been there, and it's good to know that people are still being taken care of in her name, so thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Delone Catholic Hall of Honor class of 2023. We have heard so many of our inductees over the years talk about being recognized for work that was only possible because they were blessed to be surrounded by good people. And we are so grateful for these teams, particularly the spouses of our inductees who have often worked side by side to accomplish so much. Thank you doesn't seem like enough, but thank you to Mary Kale, Jack Keffer, and Dixie Weaver who are here with us tonight, and to Glenn Wolf who passed away in 2004. Thank you all. Today, we have inducted the 8th class into the Delone Catholic High School Hall of Honor, swelling its ranks to 40 members. The members of this class have accomplished much during their lives, and they have brought a great deal of distinction to Delone Catholic now, and now to its Hall of Honor. There is no shortage of deserving candidates who should be honored for distinguished service to Delone Catholic High School as doers of the word over the past 80-plus years. Current and future members of the Delone Catholic family are sure to distinguish themselves in ways deserving of recognition. We encourage you to nominate others whom you feel should be considered for the class of 2024 and beyond. Full details about eligibility requirements in the nomination process, as well as photos and biographies of previous inductees, can be found by going to www.delonecatholic.org and clicking on About. Or we've gotten really technical now, you can scan the QR code in the program at your place. I would like to thank some other people without whom this night and this day would not have been possible. Kate Fennessy, our spiritual life director, who worked with Father Sam Miller, our chaplain, to make the Mass happen today, and to our deanery priests who can celebrate it. And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Deacon Tom Allman. He was here today, and he was wearing a stole that was made by Joan Miller for Deacon Jim Sneeringer, who was previously inducted. So we continue to have those touch points and remembering those people who have been part of our community for so long. I'd like to thank Brian Yealy and the students and faculty, vocalists and musicians, Kevin, for the work that you've done. Brianna Rochelle Photography, she's here. Thank you so much. We're going to ask her to take some pictures, and there's a link to last year's pictures on our website, and we will get that out when we have it to you for this year. Santoni's Marketplace and Catering, again, thank you so much for a wonderful meal. I'd like to thank Tony Poist and Tom Meyer from our maintenance staff, our student volunteers, Julia Furman for the work that she did to help us get the word out about this, and Stephanie Leader, who does all the thankless work behind the scenes and really makes this go. I get to show up and do the easy part, so thank you, Stephanie, for that. And everyone else from Delone Catholic, who has helped in any way. And at this time, I always ask for a minute of indulgence from the group. It's a personal privilege and honor for me to be part of Delone Catholic High School Hall of Honor selection and induction each year. I didn't know Mrs. Wolf, but I certainly knew about God's meal barrel all my life, and what an example of making sure our neighbors' needs are met and knowing that people have our backs if we need it. And I've been fortunate enough to know each of the other members of this class personally in some capacity. Even though I only had him in class for a quarter, I have many fond memories of Bill. He was one of my favorites, and I thoroughly enjoyed getting to know him as a colleague and really wish I could pick his brain as a scout leader now. I was one of Janet Keffer's kindergartners. Many of my classmates that year came from Sacred Heart because they didn't have kindergarten. 5-year-old me honestly thought Mrs. Keffer invented kindergarten. And looking back on it, maybe I wasn't wrong. Jack Cale, you talked about hopefully being a mentor like Brother Renee and Joe McCullough, and I can assure you that you are. Your example has been an inspiration to me in the work that I've done here. And Tony Weaver, you're somebody who I know has always had my best interest at heart. Don't get me wrong, when I was a kid, I was a little intimidated because you were in a position of authority. You were the guy with the badge. But getting to know you as a coach and now a colleague and friend through DCBN has been a joy. And whether all of you know it or not, you've shaped me in some way and made me who I am today, and I could not be more grateful for that and for all that you've done for Delone Catholic. It's just a real honor for me to be able to stand up here every year. At the conclusion of the program tonight, which is real soon, I would ask that the members of this year's class and those who accepted the plaques on behalf of our posthumous recipients come back up to the front and get a group photograph. Bree, is it okay if we do that here? Okay, so we'll do that here. And additionally, we have taken group photos of inductees and their family members and friends in attendance. If any of you would like to do that, please join Bree up here to get those photos taken as well. Again, thank you all so much for joining us in this wonderful celebration. We would ask you to nominate people to be in this Hall of Honor going forward, to spread the word. Please continue to come. This is a great event. It's one of my favorite nights of the year, and I wish more people would be part of it. We're grateful for all that you in the class of 2023 have done for Delone Catholic, and I would just ask you all to please join me again in congratulating the class of 2023 in the Delone Catholic Hall of Honor. We're not going to throw you out, but I'm done. Enjoy the rest of the night.